although we're all going through this remote learning, distance learning, I think that so many people are having different experiences. There we go.
Yay! All right, let's start again. I apologize. Can you tell that we're new at this? I hope we get invited back to do this again.
It's Wednesday.
I promise, Jeff. Yeah, I hope Jeff is not home cringing. I promise we'll get better. We'll do this again. I have been live on the Daily Drop-Ins with Ray. Megan, have you done a Daily Drop-In yet?
I have done a Daily Drop-In way back towards the beginning when we first started. So it's been a while.
Okay. All right. Yes. And it's been a couple of weeks for me, and I'm not usually the one getting this started. I'm usually the one joining in. So this is takes a little bit of getting used to for me too. Just as a reminder for those of you, is there no sound? Did somebody say there's no sound? Can people hear us now?
Oh, I see some people saying.
Andrea. Hi, Andrea.
Brienne says she could, well, this was when she could only see and hear you, but she could hear you. So I think we might be good.
Okay. I think we're good. Okay. You guys let us know if you can't hear us. All right. So once again, I'm Becky Thal. I'm here with Megan Deegan. We're both members of the Teach Better team. We're also both math teachers. I teach 5th grade math and science, actually. And there is sound now. Okay. Awesome. Good. Good. All right. That's not too bad. It only took us 3 minutes in, Megan, to get this working.
Hey, that's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Give everybody a chance to start rolling in.
Right. That's true. Get your coffee. Come on in and join us. All right. Thank you, Andrea. So just a reminder for those of you that are joining us this morning that we only see comments in the sidebar, so we don't see names. So if you're joining us, we're happy to have you, and please attach your name to any of your comments. So I'm excited to be here with you, Megan. And, we kind of joke because you and I talk a decent amount, and yet we have never actually met in person. But now that everything's being done virtually, this isn't really anything different, right?
Absolutely. It is funny. I do feel like we talk often and we have a lot in common, yet, again, have never met.
Yeah.
We'll get there. A couple more months.
I was just going to say, but it's like, we're BFFs. I wore my Teach Better 19 shirt today because I figured that was a nice bright color to perk me up on a Wednesday morning.
Love it.
And also because I'm looking forward to Teach Better 20. Now you, Megan, were you at Teach Better 19?
I was not. I got very sick. I was supposed to be there. I got very sick that weekend and unfortunately had to miss it. So I am so looking forward to Teach Better 20.
It is so much fun. So much fun. So I'm looking forward to it too. So I have to tell you, while we're waiting for a few more people to kind of jump in, I have to tell you about this crazy dream I had. So since this whole remote learning, situation has taken place, I haven't had any dreams about work. I don't dream about work on a regular basis to begin with. I don't know about you. But I had a dream that, and this was wild, that I went out to Nevada for a conference. I couldn't even tell you what conference it was. I couldn't tell you who the people were that I met. But apparently they were like big names in education. And I get out there and I'm meeting with a couple of people. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they say, okay, well, we're going to evaluate you now. And I was like, what do you mean? They said, we're going to give you a classroom of kids. And as part of this whole professional development conference, we have a panel of teachers that are going to evaluate you, give you an evaluation. And I was nervous, but I was even more nervous because, are you ready for this? They gave me a language arts lesson.
Oh, no.
And I was pleading with them. I said, I'm a math teacher. So one teacher felt very sorry for me, gave me very good marks, but apparently the other two did not think I did a good. I don't know who any of these people were. I mean, it wasn't even like they were familiar faces that I knew. It was like they were complete strangers. It was the wildest dream. And I was in tears at the end because that's all I kept saying was, I don't teach language arts. I don't. So it's just kind of funny that, I kind of have to wake up and laugh about it. But, all of this, everything that is going on really does play a lot on your conscience and your subconscious, and you don't realize that.
Oh, absolutely. I think that on a normal basis, teaching is stressful. And I think that this curveball that we've been thrown, although I think that teachers are doing phenomenally with this, it's a whole new layer of stress, and it's a whole new layer of, I think, stress that we had never experienced before. So it's, we don't necessarily know how to deal with it. And, sometimes weird and wacky dreams, that's how it's going to happen. That would be my nightmare. Like, you say dream, and I love it. I would say nightmare. If I had to teach an ELA lesson, I mean, my kids laugh at me all the time. And anytime I misspell something or screw something up, I'm like, guys, I'm a math teacher.
That's exactly what I say.
Yeah, and we all laugh it off. ELA is not my strong suit. So that would, you say dream. I love it.
That's why you have Andrea, and I have my partner teacher.
Exactly. I feel like this is my nightmare.
I was also thinking to myself, in the shower today, because I was getting ready. I put on a full face of makeup, which I don't think I've done in a couple of weeks now, but it's good. It's good to get going. I'm actually on my spring break this week.
Oh,
yeah, but I got up. It was good to get up. It's good to keep into a routine, I think that helps everybody too. But I was like, I felt like I was getting ready for the morning show, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this Daily Drop-In is like the morning show for teachers, right?
It is. I love it.
It's like Good Morning America has nothing on us.
Exactly. I love it. Good morning. We've got a lot of people joining us right now.
Yes.
Let's see. We've got Brianne. We've got Brian.
I think I saw Jeff jumping in there.
Both Jeffs, Alex, Joe. Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to read my favorite comments so far. That Jeff Kaplan said that #TeachBetter20. He heard there will be puppies. I think we do need to talk to. That's a question for Jeff Gargis, but I am all about the puppies. I volunteer to watch them all. No problem.
Oh, that's funny.
Amanda's here. So many people jumping in with us this morning. Luckily, all these people jumping in missed our.
Missed my little screw up. Really, yes. So excited to have everybody here. So, like we were saying, I'm on spring break this week. And there was a lot of talk around here. So we started in my district, and really in all of New Jersey, because I'm from New Jersey. We started remote teaching right away. So we left school that Friday. It was Friday. It was a real Friday the 13th. And then we weren't back as of Monday, but we started remote teaching right away. And I know that you and several other teachers that I've read about around the country had a very different experience. So before spring break, we are 4 weeks in to remote teaching already. And I know for you, that's been a little bit different. So why don't you share what's going on with you? And before I forget, because I will forget this, if you're listening to the Teach Better or watching on YouTube, you really should join us in the Facebook group, because that's where we're live, and that's where you can actually join in on the comments and be part of the discussion. So go ahead, Megan. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, it's actually very interesting. You and I have talked a lot since the beginning of this, because I feel like although we're all going through this remote learning, distance learning, I think that so many people are having different experiences, which is awesome to kind of hear about all those. And I know for me personally, when I was talking to you, I was kind of taking notes on things that you were saying, that advice that you were giving, because you had already started and been through it. So similar to you, March 13th was our last day, and we didn't find out until about 1:30 that day. So we had about, an hour left with the kids, and it was like, okay, well, we're not here next week. That's all we knew. So we had that week off, and then the following week was our spring break. So were out for 2 weeks, and we were not doing any remote learning, and we didn't really find out till the middle, towards the end of our spring break, that the following week, which was, I think, the last week of March, was going to be used for teachers to plan and prep remote learning, and our remote learning started last week. So I am really and then we had Good Friday off, and we had this Monday off.
Okay.
Those were scheduled days off for us. So, it's Wednesday. This is really only week 2 of remote learning. So I do have to say thank you to you and all the other teachers who had already started remote learning prior to me starting, because I was able to take a lot of the things that were being said, a lot of the advice, a lot of maybe some of the initial obstacles, and I was able to kind of preemptively smooth those out, or at least try to with
Right.
students, which was super helpful and super nice. Not that there aren't obstacles. There are still plenty of obstacles that,
Right. Right.
we're facing daily. But I think that just having people that had already started was really helpful to me at the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, obviously for me, it was more like baptism by fire. you were you were kind of thrown in the water and then thrown a life raft and said, here's start swimming. But and I've found, now being the weird thing is, on some days it feels like, wow, we've been doing this for 4 weeks, it's gone by quick. And then there's other parts of me that was like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's been 4 months instead of 4 weeks. So it really does depend on the day. But what I find is that I'm changing things as I go. So even things, and I think just as teachers, you become used to that flexibility, and you almost have to become used to that, flexibility. And so, different weeks I'm trying different things to see what works, and what the kids, I'm asking the students themselves what they prefer, and different styles and methods that they prefer.
Absolutely. I think we do that in our, like you said, we do that in our classroom so much. Anyways, you try something, it works, it doesn't work, you adjust it. And it's no different now. It's,
Yes.
We're trying things. And I know that so many teachers are trying so many new things now. A, because we're remote learning and it looks different. And B, there are so many, I feel like, doors that have opened now where, now's your time. Try things, see if it works, see if it doesn't work, and adjust as you go. And I think that teachers have been blowing my mind. I mean, they blow my
Yes.
mind all the time anyways, but really blowing my mind in the things that they're coming up with and the ways that they're, still able to engage their students and make this something that our students can really take some positive away from. Like, I know Jeff Kaplan had just made a comment and said that they had a trip to Savannah, Georgia that was canceled. So next week, they're going to be watching videos of the places that they would have visited and using Flipgrid to see what students have found interesting and want to research more about. I think that's incredible. You're taking something that, the canceled trip could have been such a negative, and you're turning it into something, okay, we can still use this, we can still learn from this, we can still, use this as a learning and engaging moment for students.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I actually, Jeff, I want in on that trip because I've been wanting to go to Savannah, Georgia. So since you're going virtually, you may as well take me along with you.
Yeah, we all go. This can just be a field trip. I'd like to.
Yeah, a Teach Better Team field trip to Savannah, Georgia. That actually sounds really cool. I'm sorry that was canceled. So many things that you hear about, and that's part of it too. Is just the kids' overall disappointment in not being able to do things with their friends. And a lot of them do miss being in the classroom. Megan, what has been your experience so far in terms of, because I know you use the grid method in your classroom and you were using it before this. I used a kind of a modified version of the grid method myself, and have a tracking sheet. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you found your experience so far in terms of the kids? Are you allowed to teach new content, like to keep moving forward with content? Because I know that's a big issue as well, is that a lot of teachers are being told that they cannot teach new content.
Absolutely. I actually, it's funny. I think it even, not even state to state, I would say it even depends district to district and kind of what each district is
Yes.
kind of setting as their standards. We are allowed to teach new content. For us right now, it's that grades cannot negatively impact our students.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to kind of tie this in with a comment by Mike that said, what is one or two things you've learned with remote learning that you will incorporate moving forward? It's things to kind of wrap that in. So I've already been using the grid method since August. So we were kind of in the middle of a unit towards the end of it when all of this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been finishing that unit with our grid. I think that for me, it was keeping some sort of consistency with the students. And because they because they know the grid and they are so comfortable with it and they know how to work their way through it, we are finishing that unit. And I think although I already kind of knew this and had this mentality that was all about feedback for them. My classroom is very mastery based, and therefore the only grades I'm looking at really are their assessment grades. Yeah. All of the work that they do leads to, and we focus on the mastery, but leads to being able to master that assessment. And if they don't, we look at what they need to go over, and we work on that again. But I think that one thing that remote learning has really, really set in for me is how much I love just feedback and how much I love not having to give grades for everything and kind of just not even having the grades, just really being able to work on what are you learning? What do you need? And I think that is something that is absolutely going to go with me in August, and it's going to change what I already do. Yes, we focus on feedback, but we're going to change that even more. We're going to really, really focus on them mastering the concepts, and the letter grade doesn't even matter. Yeah. That's not something that I care about until we're at the point where, okay, you've mastered all these standards. Now let's look at how you did when you mastered those standards, instead of, I care more about the journey to get there than I do what that grade is going to be.
Yes.
And I think that my students, without having those grades, are taking more chances and are reaching out for more help, and they're not afraid to fail. And although, again, we kind of had that already, this is really cementing that even more. So I think that's something that we are all going to take with us when we go back. And, well, we're set to go back May 1st, but I'll say when we get to August, because who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a week to week at this point. No, that's awesome. I also find that because, I think in the beginning, and I think a lot of teachers are like this, you're trying to look at so many different things that they're doing and that they're producing. And it's, unlike when you're physically in the classroom, if somebody's working on something, you can, first of all, that they're all working on the same thing, not the same thing, but they're all working on math at the same time. So no matter where they are in the process, they're all, in your classroom. And if you have a question, you just go over and ask them. Or if you want to do a check-in with them, you just go over and ask them. And you don't have that luxury here. You have to, try to track them down an email or a Google Meet or a Zoom call. And that's time consuming. It really is. And so, I think that trying to find quick ways of, I've been using, thanks to Ray's suggestion, and this was before we went out, she introduced me to Seesaw. And I have been loving Seesaw because Seesaw is an opportunity, first of all, for the kids to showcase their work in different ways. And I can write them a quick comment underneath or send something back to them if I want them to redo it. So it's it's a good little pulse check as well on how they're doing. And so that's what I've been trying to use a little bit more of myself. But, we're fortunate that we have older students. And so that's been a huge benefit. I was, one of the things that I started earlier this year, and again, it's, if you had known then what you know now, but I'm glad that I got them started just getting used to sending emails, because I felt like by 5th grade, you were old enough to be able to advocate for yourself. And if you didn't understand something or needed a teacher's help, you should be able to send the email. You didn't always need, a parent to send an email. And so thankfully I did that, because now they do. They send me emails on their own, or I've had them in Google Chats and they've, sent me a message in Google Chat. So at least, when you develop those relationships early on and that comfortability level, it really does make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, my students were already good. Again, I teach 7th grade, so, I'm dealing with at least an age level that knows their way around the technology for the most part, and can email, maybe not the greatest email, sometimes my email is in the subject, but, we work with it.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they're, they're putting in that effort to really reach out. And I think that one thing that I have seen from as I've kind of jumped into these lives and seen some teachers commenting or just teachers posting, in the group or on their own, one comment that Kirsten made, she said, we were already on spring break when we found out we were not going back. And unfortunately, we have about 50% of students without internet access. So we're doing remote learning and planning packets. And I think that it's not something that I deal with directly. I think I have about one or two students that didn't have internet access and a couple of things have been set up.
Right.
But I think about that, that looks completely different. And how would we then kind of switch and deal with that and adjust to servicing those students? And I think that there are so many incredible teachers that have really done so well with what they have because, like you said, this happened so fast.
Yes.
Nobody saw this coming. And so there are so many educators that are doing phenomenally with what they have
and what the students have.
Absolutely. And still going above and beyond to reach and support their students, in any way that they can, which is incredible.
Yeah, I feel very, there's several populations that I know are struggling with it. It's definitely obviously students that don't have access to technology. Some of it is students who are sharing devices with siblings in the house and trying to get that work done. And then, I've seen too where you get a lot of the younger kids who, like my daughter's in second grade. So she had never used Google Classroom before. So trying to get her used to navigating her way around to look for assignments and things as well. That age group, that's a struggle too. Even if they have access to the technology, do they really know how to use the technology? I saw somebody who actually posted that they're using WhatsApp to communicate with their students. Which I think is awesome. I have not used that myself, but I know several people who do. I have thought, if I really want to get a hold of somebody, maybe I should ask for their cell phone numbers because that they're always on their cell phone.
Absolutely, they are.
It's kind of uncharted territory. I mean, I, for the first time ever, gave out my home address to my students because I asked them to make cards for doctors and nurses so that I could distribute them. We live near a hospital and I have some friends that work at the hospital. So, and sure enough, they all mailed me, not even mailed, snail mail, cards and things for the doctors and nurses. So it's definitely unprecedented times.
It is, but I think that I think it's awesome though, and I think that of all times for things like that to happen, like now is it, and it's one more way that those students can connect with you, and now even if they want to send you a letter or something, they can,
yes.
Which is awesome. I'm currently Andrea and I are currently writing postcards to all of our students, so that's something that our district does every once in a while or our teams can do, but we are now reaching out to all of our students, just even though I've sent emails, we've emailed parents, it's just another way to say, hey, I miss you, I'm thinking about you, and it's not even content related, it's just I miss you, and we're thinking about you.
Yes.
And just another form of support and another way to reach out.
No, and it's definitely letting them know that you care. I mean, there are some, positives when you look for them, and sometimes you have to dig a little deep, and some days are easier than others. But just before spring break, I connected with a student that I had not connected with since we had left the classroom. And he actually got on, he was doing some work and things, but I miss seeing their faces, and and so when I did connect with him, that was my big victory, for not only the day but the week. I mean, it was a big deal for me, and you have to relish those because you don't know all the circumstances that are going on, and so and you can't take things personally, but that as a teacher you kind of learn pretty early on as well, is that you can't take things personally.
Absolutely, and it's hard. That's one thing that is killing me right now is we in our district currently we cannot like video connect with any of our students.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Any form. Yeah. And it's so hard because I don't even want to talk math. I don't care about that. I just
Yeah.
see my kids.
Yes.
Them and I just want to connect. I really just want to make sure that they're doing okay
Yes.
and that they know that they still have a support system, although it looks different.
Yeah.
I want them to know that it's there and they have it. So it's definitely difficult, but I'm hoping that this is only week 2 of our remote learning. I'm hoping that soon we have some sort of platform where we can connect if they would like to.
Yes. Yeah, I think that is key. That was initially not an option for us either, and they opened it up pretty quickly into our. I think it was within the first week that they opened it up, and it has made a huge difference. I see Jessica chimed in, and she said that they had to send home packets, and they have a teacher hotline. Wow, set up that we man on a schedule. That's hard. That's tough.
That is really hard. But one thing I'm going to say is, how cool is that though? Like, although our positions are so different, how cool is that though that they are finding ways to make this work and finding ways to be there and support your kids? Is it probably what all of those teachers would want it to look like? No.
Right.
But there are still ways, and instead of just kind of throwing in the towel and saying, well, here's your packet, good luck. And
yes. Yeah.
It's, they're finding ways to be there. Whether or not the students are taking advantage of it, they're there. And I think that says it all to the student. Like, just knowing that you're there and knowing that there is that line of support, that says a lot to the student. So you said that was Jessica?
Jessica, and actually I see that she just said that she learned that the district is looking into grants to go 1-to-1, which is, which is awesome. And that's, if any good is going to come out of that, the, issue of equity, which I know has been discussed before, is a very big topic in education, as it should be. And hopefully that is some good that comes out of all this, is that, districts that, you're learning a lot more about different areas of the country and what they've been working with or haven't been working with. And it's really kind of mind blowing, because you get wrapped up in your little bubble, and, when everything is working pretty well in your own little bubble, it's sometimes you don't have that bigger picture. So even for me personally, this has been, super eye opening, and I'm very, empathetic and sympathetic to, I kind of consider us one big pool of teachers at this point around the country. And, it's good to support each other. They have a lot of groups set up to, for teachers to support each other. And of course, we're here as the Teach Better team to listen. And we might not have all the answers, but we can certainly, we have a big network of people that can provide answers. And I think that's key. It's certainly one of the things that drew me to this group. And I'm sure you could say the same, Megan.
Oh, absolutely. I think and teachers I feel like, teachers are always such a super supportive group, but it has really, really amazed me at how well and how immediate everybody just kind of came together to figure this out. And again, it looks different across not even every state. It looks different in every district. And it looks different from kindergarten, through college has to do this.
Yes.
But I think that there's so much support out there, and there are so many people that are dealing with something similar to everyone's situation, that you can find that support and you can, come together to figure out ways and brainstorm ways to deal with different obstacles that are coming up. And I think that as the days and the weeks go on, people are, making changes for the better. Things are coming up, like Jessica said, her district's now looking into grants, and it's, it's kind of, maybe, I don't know if they were looking at it before, but would that have happened prior to this? Or, would that have been maybe one of the things of, okay, we're going to get to this, but it might not be a priority. Now it's a priority. So like you said, sometimes it's hard to find the positives at times, but if you can find those positives, there are some positive things that are happening.
Definitely. I've also been happy to see that they're, similar to how the Teach Better team just kind of jumped in and was like, okay, what can we do to help? And this literally, as we've said multiple times, this changed overnight. So nobody had a lot of time to think about it, which, maybe was better, in hindsight. And everybody just jumped into the doing part. And there's been so many companies that are now offering free resources, at least through the end of the school year for school districts, teachers, students that are impacted, so that even parents can open accounts and have their own kids, work on things, to benefit them. So that's been huge too. And to see that outpouring has been great, because obviously, everybody takes a financial hit in that case.
Absolutely. I think that, again, there have been so many doors that have opened, and so there's now, time to try some new things.
Yeah.
Things that you might like or dislike, or, how can you adapt things? And what are you doing now that you can, again, I'm going to say August, but what are you doing now that when we go back next year, you're going to take with you, and, what positive changes might you be making to your classroom because of this?
And I did, I have seen comments where people have said, I was planning on taking my class more digital, and this has forced me to take my class more digital. But like we said, sometimes it is honestly better just to jump in, the water, and you'll figure it out. We, as we've said, we're teachers, and it's kind of part of the job description that you have to be flexible. So that comes with the job description. So it really does. It forces you in a lot of respects out of your comfort zone, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I was part of my school's Future Ready committee, or have been part of my school's Future Ready committee. And so we've been looking a lot into this over the past few years. So, it's been interesting to see now everybody's kind of elevated. Everybody at this point is future ready.
Absolutely. It's kind of forced us there. And this, just a comment that Joe had made, he said, though frustrating at times, he realized that his students do not know how to use their technology. And this made him go earn badges on how to use the iPad better and start learning for the fall.
Yeah.
And I think that is another thing that has kind of opened up our eyes. We're getting to see where our students are struggling, and it's not necessarily in content. We've almost kind of put content on the back burner.
Yes.
And now we're really focusing on, what do our students really need?
Yes.
What do they need more of? What do they maybe not know how to do? Because, often when you're, like you said, when you're in the classroom and you're seeing them all working, and, like my kids have Chromebooks, and I see them using their Chromebooks, I'm learning more right now which of my students maybe don't know how to do certain things. Yes. And it's like Joe said, okay, so how do we then make that better in the fall? Yes. That needs to be something that we are conscious of when we go back, and that maybe needs to be something that we work on more.
Yeah. And I've also seen people comment that, starting next school year, they're going to hit the ground running with this. You can't really look in hindsight at this point. You can only look forward, but I think that nobody wants to discuss this, but I think that one of the concerns is if we had to be out of school at any point, next year, even if it was just for a week or two, that they want their students to be, kind of more prepared going in. And certainly, by starting that early on, that's a game changer.
Definitely. I think that this was something that we were obviously didn't see coming. We were not, I don't know of any district that, had a plan for this, maybe for, a snow day or two, but not for any length of time. And I think right. Now that we've had this, it's time to really dig deep and say, okay, what is the plan if this happens again?
Yes.
Although I think the teachers are doing phenomenally, and it's been incredible to see, and everyone's making it work in some way, how do we then set a plan to make this even better than it is now in case we have to do this again? Because yes. You never know.
No, you don't. I was actually in the middle of writing a blog post for the Teach Better team, and it was on how you can use Google Classroom to teach digital citizenship. And, now I've kind of been writing other blog posts that are more on the forefront of what we're dealing with right now. But that's certainly something that, I'm going to finish up and hopefully will be, run down the road. But it's true. There's like I said, there's a lot of lessons that can come out of this. Even for no matter how old your students are. My one thing with my daughter, and she logs onto Google Classroom every day, and she sees that her classmates are posting all of these comments underneath. And so, me being a teacher, I'm like, don't comment unless you have a legitimate question. And she's like, okay. So now she asks me all the time. She goes, can I ask the teacher? But there's a lot of like micro, I don't want to call them micro or mini lessons that can be embedded, within a lot of these technology platforms as well. And, you can't overlook that. It's a huge benefit. I mean, I'm now I think that the testing has been taken away from everybody. Everybody can breathe a little bit easier with regards to that. You do have more ability to experiment. And so, I know for me, that's what I'm trying to do, and to kind of build in a couple of other things. I'm trying to do more, math around your house and math outside kind of activities, to break it up and to make it a little more fun and interactive for the students. So, hey, Chad logged on. Good morning.
Absolutely. And I think that, again, it's how do we keep our students engaged? And sometimes
Yes.
in those lessons, somebody had made a comment. Let me see if I can find it about, oh, here we go. It was Joe. He had made a comment about how he had moved from teaching the civil rights to economics to teach real life situations in our current economy. And I think
Yes.
that's so valuable.
Yes.
If you can connect it to, that's one way to engage your students. If you can connect to, they're all living through what's going on.
Yep.
And so being able to connect it to that can engage them, even from a distance.
Yes. Yeah. So Megan, how are you? And I know this is still a little newer for you with your students, but are you doing things any differently at this point, or trying new things that you haven't done before to try to keep the students engaged and interacting and motivated?
So I feel like I live on engagement with my students, just in terms of, if, my classroom is just always a ball of energy. And so I am missing that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we have done, and we're going to start, I did it in the week before, the first week that we were off, where we weren't actually remote learning. I had posted, and I know a couple of teachers on my team, and just in the grade level, Andrea had done it. We were posting some GIM kits, or some a quizzes, and we were running them live. So we would give the kids, heads up, hey, we're going to run this at noon tomorrow. I'll post the code 5 minutes before. And, we had some kids join, and some kids, can we do that again? That was fun. So it's definitely something, now that we're in kind of week 2, I'm going to be doing with them. I also have, my kids each have their own fake bank account, and they get paid weekly for doing their work. And then when they're in the classroom, they have classroom jobs and they get paid. So they are still getting paid weekly for doing their work. So that's kind of been one thing of my students who are, connecting and working. They're
That's
getting,
neat.
yeah, now we need to figure out something remotely that they can cash in their money for.
Yeah.
We had a store in my classroom, and so I'm still working on that one. I'll figure that one out in the next month.
I like that idea, though, especially for being a math teacher. I do like that idea that you can do that. I have classroom jobs as well, so I might, that might be something that I look into then for next year.
Yeah, it's been fun. They normally monthly have to pay me rent and an internet bill. Of course, now they're not in my classroom and they don't use my internet, so they don't have to pay. They're excited about that, but they still get paid. It's just, it's a fun way to still connect with them and
yes.
still engage them.
Well, it's a real life lesson. It's a real life math application. And I think that's super important.
Absolutely. And so again, as long as I find something that they can exchange it for, I was thinking, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but maybe this is, how many days we've been in quarantine. was thinking of letting them buy. My kids love TikTok. They are obsessed with it. And I have held off for long enough. I think I might buy a TikTok video from me.
So I don't know a ton about TikTok other than it's everywhere, right? It's all over social media. People are referencing it. Teachers are doing it. And I have to say that I have my own classroom Instagram account, and I have obviously our Twitter account, and you have a Twitter account as well. So I floated the idea to one of my friends on the phone. I said, I'm thinking about trying TikTok, and all I will tell you is that my 7th grade son heard this. He won't hear me ask him, to pick anything up from his room, but he heard me have this conversation, and he darted over and was like, you cannot open a TikTok account. My friends will find you. So it's kind of an ongoing debate because I was like, I think it would be fun. So I know I'm kind of holding it over his head at this point. I'm like, well, I need you to clean. Otherwise, I'm opening that TikTok account.
And, I think that so often we talk about really meeting our students where they're at.
Yes.
And if it's something that they value, and we show them that we value it,
Yes.
That's an instant connection. And so, like I said, I've held off for a very long time, but, I think it's time. I just have to meet them at their level.
You do. I said one of the most challenging parts of being a teacher at this level in particular, this kind of tween, age group, is you have to be up on pop culture, whether you want to or not. That's also part of the job description.
Absolutely. I got to keep up with them. And again, if the way that I see it is, if it's one more way that I can connect with them and, be silly and goofy with them,
yes,
why not? It's, let's all have a good laugh because I'm sure it's going to be funny. But let's all.
And everybody needs a good laugh right now, so it's timely.
And that's one way I feel like I can reach.
Yes.
I feel like with email and things like that, I'm reaching about 80% of my kids. I feel like this, I might reach 100% of my kids because even if they don't have TikTok, they're going to be like, well, we have to see Miss Deegan TikTok now. And
word travels fast. So once one or two of them sees it, forget it. They're all going to see it. The whole school will see it. That's awesome. That's awesome. I have to work on that myself. But we have been on now, Megan, chatting away this morning, which it's been great to see you. We've been on for, if you take away the 3-minute little problem that I had when we first logged on, we've been on for about 40 minutes. And again, if you were listening to this elsewhere, please join our Facebook group so that you can see these daily drop-ins live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's been great to see all of the comments and people interacting with us this morning. This was a lot of fun. I'm feeling more confident, Megan. We should do this again in a few weeks.
Absolutely.
I'm actually going to be on, next week, and I think the week after as well. So, I went to school to be in broadcasting, believe it or not, because I wanted to be a news anchor. And so I feel like this is like I said, this is like the morning show for me. This is as close to news anchor as I'm going to get.
It's a great way to start your morning. I do want to just one quick comment. Mary said that she would love to hear more about remote rewards. Mary, anybody, if you have any remote reward ideas, please, please, please post them. I would love to hear them because I need to come up with some more. But if I come up with any, I will absolutely post them. I think that right now, other than me paying them each week in their fake bank account and possibly doing a TikTok, Jeff Kaplan also jumped in and said his students are begging him to get on TikTok. I say we just do like a Teach Better, like private Facebook group TikTok. Everybody get on, do a TikTok.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea. And, I do want to hear more. Maybe, maybe Megan, that could be our next session. We can kind of research in the meantime and get some feedback from other people about what some remote reward opportunities would be, because I think that's a great idea. So maybe we'll investigate that further too and get some other people's input. And that could be a whole session in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely. I think that right now, everybody's kind of looking for just ways
to
engage their
and motivate. Yep.
Absolutely. So that's definitely
especially as this keeps going on.
Give us all the ideas. If you've got them, send them out. I want all the ideas on how to motivate and engage my kids.
Virtually, yeah.
Flash mob TikTok. Brienne, I love it. You tell me when. I'm not very coordinated, so it's not going to look very good. But I'm in.
Oh, flash mob on TikTok. And that would be cool too. Well, I thank you all for joining us, and especially if you've been here from the beginning of our segment. Thank you for bearing with us while we got our bearings. Again, the Daily Drop-In, if this is your first time here, runs Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Central, 8 Eastern Time, and we look forward to seeing you again. I look forward to doing this with you again, Megan.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.